Hey, everybody. Welcome to our very first VA office hours. This is a special little VA office hours in that I am traveling and streaming to you from a bedroom on a very shaky bed. So, thank you first and foremost for sticking with me on this less than ideal office setup. But, like any good VA, we have to make do with what we have. So thank you guys for joining me so much on this video. This is my very first office hours live. It is live and viewable only to members of this channel. So if you are a paying member, not only do I thank you so much for your support, but this is my way to be able to give back to you guys where consider this like an open office. Where I have my office doors open and you guys can come in and bring me your questions specifically about your own virtual assistant businesses. I do a lot of coaching, one on one coaching, and I am totally aware that sometimes prices are, it's just not the right time. It's either too high or I totally get it. We're all going through a recession right now. So, this live session is my way of giving back to the community. So, please, if you're new to this channel and you're just tuning into, bring me your questions because I'm here and I will be here for an hour for each of you. So, you can also send me your questions ahead of time and I'll do a live where members can come back and access it at a later time. So, in the event that members are a little slow to roll in today, we are going to talk about a topic. Again, this topic is just viewable to members only. So, I'm about to give you guys some incredible details on today's theme, which is finding your very first client. The reason that I want to talk about finding your first client as a VA is because it's the hardest thing to do when you're just getting your business started. Like, I've been in your shoes before 2 years ago, where you've picked out your rates, you know exactly who you want to work with, you've got services that you're ready to offer. Everything is all in alignment and you're ready to go, except your biggest problem and the biggest hangup is that you don't know where or how to find clients. So, so let's talk about it. I've talked at length before about some general methods in which you can find your very first client. So we'll start on a broad point of view, and then as the video progresses, I'm going to give you some more streamline and deep dive coaching advice. So, to get started, one of the best ways that virtual assistants can still to this day get their very first client, we're talking just about our first paying customer, is referrals. Um, People hate to do referrals, and I get it. I was terrified to do referrals when I first started because when you think about it, the only people you have in your network who are open and able to do or hear your pitch about your services are either your family or your close friends. And ultimately, when you're just starting your business, it can feel a little icky, weird to go to your mother or your cousins or your best friend and tell them about your business and then follow it up with, hey, and if you know anyone who needs my services, send them my way. So, my members only coaching advice is this: think less about asking for referrals as selling yourself. Think about it less as networking. And I want you to approach it more as just a conversation. That's it. Because at the end of the day, you are a human, you're a person, and your friends and your family, you love them. They love you. Like, this is a beautiful, loving, mutual relationship. So I don't want you to approach your best friend as if you're thinking this is like a sales pitch. Instead, hello, I see you here. Hello. We are you're the first one here, by the way. So if you who just joined have any questions about your business, send them to me in the chat. You and I can get some one-on-one coaching. Just for the time being, I'm just talking about getting your first clients. And I was just saying, like, when you don't have any clients to begin with, it feels super awkward. So I was just saying, think about it less as a pitch, less as a business transaction, and think about it more as you're talking to your friends. It can be casual. Your verbiage does not have to be super pinned up professionalism. You can quite frankly go to your friends and family and be like, "Look, I just launched this business. This is what I'm doing. I'm super excited about it, and I need my first client." It can be a conversation. I had the most casual conversation when I first launched my business with this woman who I knew, kind of. We had done some work together in the past, and she very casually asked me what was going on in my life. She said what was new, and I told her, "Oh, I'm just doing this new thing where I've just launched this concierge type service, and as an assistant, I do whatever people need me to do. I'm just getting started, and I'm excited to see where it takes me." And just because we had a human to human conversation and she was interested in what I was doing, she asked me follow-up questions. I asked her follow-up questions. It was less of a pitch. I wasn't even at the time thinking I'm going to pitch this woman to be my first client. I was just engaged and having a friendly conversation with someone. And at the end of the conversation, she said, "I think I could use somebody like you. Do you want to help me?" The first thing she had me do was make a digitize pictures. So she sent me some photos and I put them into a book and remotely had it printed. So she was my first paying client. And I just want to remind new VAs that sometimes your first client is going to come from a casual and friendly conversation. The reason I bring this up is because a lot of new VAs get really psyched out and they think new business means you have to be super professional all the time. But at the end of the day, being a virtual assistant is about people. People, like clients, like to hire people that they like. And so if you are just coming to meetings and you're meeting people and you're talking to friends and you're talking to family and you're just having these open, engaging, you're bringing your full personality, you're letting your beautiful quirks shine, let your freak flag fly. Like just be yourself, have a conversation, and it's often clients will take a shine to you because they like your personality or you've asked interesting questions or they just they like you. So first and foremost, just that was tip number one. Don't feel like you have to be so buttoned up all the time. Be your beautiful casual self. That is the magic that makes referrals in your network work so well. If And this question has come to me a couple times with new VAs, if you're a new VA and you just don't have that network, that immediate network to go with, you might be asking, well, how do I find clients if I maybe don't have family or I don't have family in the same country that I'm in? Or, I'm new. I just had a recent student say, I'm new to America and I don't really know that many people. How do I go about finding clients? That is totally uh, normal. And if you don't have that immediate network, there are many more ways to find that first client. Now, if we were doing a general video, I would say get on social media and do XYZ. But this is one on one coaching. So I'm going to tell you the nitty gritty about how this really works. Social media is great, but it is a long term strategy. It requires a lot of time from you, it requires a lot of effort, and it requires consistency. I think that's where so many people fail at this stage. I was recently coaching a woman who said she posted regularly on LinkedIn and Instagram. So I looked at both of her channels and she had posted once within the last 2 weeks. And then before that had been about a month and a half. When you are getting started as a VA and you are trying to utilize social media, you need to be posting, if not once a day, sorry, I said that wrong. If not twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon, or once in the morning, once in the evening, you at least have to do it once a day. So my best advice is find at least one channel, because there are so many social channels out there nowadays. And the truth is, if you tried to be on every single channel, you would burn out. Like social media would end up being your full time job, and you're not getting paid for it yet. So we want to limit your efforts and make sure that you're really reaching out to the people and the channels that matter the most. So, and that differs by what you and who you are trying to reach as an assistant. So, for example, if you're trying to reach mostly corporate people, or you want to reach business owners or solopreneurs or startups, you will want to be on LinkedIn. That's because LinkedIn has like half of a billion people on it right now. And most of those people are business to business. Most of the people you are wanting to reach, especially if they're corporate or some kind of office setup, they're going to be on LinkedIn. So the beauty about LinkedIn is that it functions nowadays a lot like Facebook and a lot like Google. If you have a LinkedIn profile that at the bare minimum has your title, that's and in your title you say virtual assistant, uh, working with startups, specializing in general admin assistance. As long as you have a title that I think speaks to what it is that you do, so you have to include the term virtual assistant, and you include who you're trying to reach. So those are your clients that you're hoping to work with, and it includes some services that you offer. That alone is going to be really helpful because people who are searching for virtual assistants in the search bar, if they're hitting your keywords that you have in your title, your profile is going to pop up. And then the next thing you want to do is you really want to start posting regularly on LinkedIn. So, LinkedIn, I say it functions like Facebook because on LinkedIn homepage, there's now a section called activities. And this is where you can really let yourself, your personality, and your services shine. So, this is where you'll want to post once a day. It could be a link. You could post a link to interesting trends happening in virtual assistants. You could post links to the best tools that you're using for productivity. You could post a link to some new service or maybe some new AI tool that you've just discovered and why you like it so much. You could post your own videos. Like you could film 60-second videos on your phone and put that up on your LinkedIn as a native post. Video still performs really well. Again, you could be talking about your favorite tools, your favorite productivity tips, your favorite tips for managing calendars. Like really it's totally up to you and it's based on what you are trying to highlight as your services, but you want to be posting about interesting things that are not only things that you're good at, things that you offer. So, like, for example, if you're a virtual assistant who specializes in what? Travel booking for corporates, you'll want to talk a lot about your favorite travel tools and why they're so good, and your favorite services for booking travel and how you manage travel. And just you want to be highlighting things that make you great and the tools that make you great at your job. And you want to be sharing those every day. So, the point of sharing that, by the way, is that the more you share, the more LinkedIn algorithm will recognize that you're an active member of the channel and they'll start to promote your profile more. So the more active you are, the better. And the more beneficial information you can be sharing, the greater the likelihood that a client who needs your services or at least is interested or thinking about virtual assistants, there's a greater likelihood that they're going to see your profile come up. And if you are helpful and you're an interesting and helpful resource, the day that they're finally ready to hire a virtual assistant, you will be at the top of their mind. And that's the goal. Really, ultimately, the goal of social media is to make sure that you are presenting yourself as an expert in the field of virtual assistants and that you're also presenting yourself as somebody who's helpful and knows what they're talking about. And then the third tier of social media, of course, is instead of just posting things like posting a link, posting a video of yourself, I call this posting and ghosting. Try not to post and ghost because if you're just posting, a link every day at 8 a.m. and then you never come back and interact, while it's helpful, the real magic happens when you spend just an extra 5 minutes. So post your thing in the morning or whenever you're going to post it, and then search for terms like virtual assistants or go into the LinkedIn search bar and search for full phrases like I am looking for a virtual assistant and look to see what kind of stuff other people are looking for. So LinkedIn, when you search for keywords like that, it's going to pull up other people's posts where they do say things like, "Hey, I'm looking for a VA. Do you know of anyone?" When you start to see people looking for virtual assistants, that's where you come in and you can be like, "Hey, I'm a virtual assistant. These are my services. I'm going to go ahead and send you a private message and we can talk about, my services and what you're looking for. Or if you are, let's just go back to the example. If you're a travel like niche, if you're a travel virtual assistant and that's like your bread and butter and your niche and you love to do it, look for other people on LinkedIn who are talking about travel. What tools do they like? Comment on it. If you're like, you know what, I love that tool too. Or if you see somebody else sharing a product or a service or a way of booking travel that you've never thought of before, leave them a comment and tell them how you do it or tell them that you're going to check out their product. So it's that kind of rapport building that really makes LinkedIn so interesting. And but again, it's long term and it does take a lot of time and dedication. I can tell you that. Oh, hey, do you recommend a business page? That is a great question. I'm so glad you asked that. I do not recommend a business page. The reason is because it actually functions differently than a personal profile. So the personal profile makes you searchable. Um, if you had a virtual assistant page, like a business profile, and somebody was searching for a virtual assistant and your keywords, your personal profile is going to come up before the business pages. So I do think it's better in that you wanna be in the larger pool, like, so to speak, you know what I mean? Like, when clients are searching for VAs, you wanna be in that larger search pile because somebody has more opportunity to find you. And then the other thing with pages too is that, with business pages is that you can't be sharing things every day like I was just talking about with the personal profile. So, with the personal profile, you can do videos, pictures, links, polls, there's, like kind of like other social media. There's a whole bunch of different stuff that you can share. But if you had a page, you couldn't necessarily share those things. And then to get into the super nitty gritty, the business page algorithm is different than the personal page. So that's a very long way of saying that if you are trying to push your VA services, do it on your personal page. Um, if you look right now on your personal page, like if you pull up your own LinkedIn profile, and then you scroll halfway down, you'll see on your profile a section that says articles and activities. Um, that section of your profile is also viewable to everyone. So I've gone to other virtual assistants pages before. For example, I actually just did this on Monday earlier this week. A client reached out to me who I couldn't assist, and he asked me for specific like Canva graphic specialties. And so I went to LinkedIn. I found this one guy who I've been following lately, and it's because he's been posting so much on LinkedIn. So he was already at the top of my mind just because he's been posting so regularly that I see his stuff all the time. So I went to his profile, I scrolled down and I found his articles and activity feed. And then when I clicked on his articles and activity on his personal page, I was able to see a whole list of like everything he's ever posted. So I like to think of that section on your personal page as kind of like, oh my God, I'm totally blanking on the word. How embarrassing. It's a portfolio. It's his portfolio of work. So he had it all in one place where I could just see every single Canva post he's made, every carousel he's made lately. And his work was so good that I just sent him a message and offered him the client. Um, I don't know if they ended up working together, but that is besides the point. So, yeah, so great question. I definitely recommend utilizing your LinkedIn personal page as much as you possibly can. Um, and again, think of your posting, everything you post, just think of it as your portfolio to be able to really advertise your own expertise and your interests and your services. And if you do Canva graphics, make carousels. Carousels seem to be making this huge comeback. Carousels, but you can go onto Canva and make PDF carousels. And I just did one the other day. It was like 5 prompts to use for, 5 prompts for Chat GPT. And I made a quick graphic where you could scroll through, and every individual page of the carousel was a different prompt for Chat GPT. So, yeah, so think of LinkedIn for sure as your portfolio of work and your expertise. That's a good one. Does anybody who's just tuned in, is anybody on Twitter or is anybody looking for clients on Instagram? or YouTube. Um, I have some tips. I don't know if you guys are interested, but lately, TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube are making changes to their algorithm. So this week in particular, I've been really, really, really studying up on these changes because I think some interesting things are happening that could be really good for us for client acquisition. And again, especially good if you're looking for your first client. So there's something very interesting happening with shorts right now, with short videos. On one hand, people are starting to kind of rebel a little bit against 60-second videos on TikTok and Instagram, which I think is interesting. And both of those platforms are moving towards pictures again and carousels, which is crazy because they spent the last year trying to get away from pictures. But something fascinating is happening. It seems to be that people are being a little less tolerant to short form videos, and they're going back to longer form videos. Keep that little tidbit in mind because in a second I'm going to talk about YouTube and why you might want to get onto YouTube as an assistant. Yes, yes to YouTube. I'm yes, I'm gonna talk about that in a second because I am giving you 2 thumbs up. And here's why. People are feeling less enthused about short form video. They're going back to long form video, except YouTube now is doubling. YouTube is doing something insane. So let's just put TikTok and Instagram on a pause for a second. Here's why I think YouTube is about to blow up again for people like you and me, or for any business owner, any freelancer, really. So, YouTube, as of yesterday, YouTube's CEO stepped down, and the person that's replacing her is this guy who's the head of YouTube Shorts product. So it's no secret that YouTube is trying to take a bite out of TikTok and Instagram Reels. And so what they're doing right now at YouTube is doubling down on shorts. I'm noticing of myself too that when I post 60-second videos, the algorithm is just promoting the shorts a lot faster than long form. So YouTube Shorts, I think, are going to be really important this year. What that means for you as a VA is that you can start a YouTube channel and you can start by creating 60-second shorts. And instead of doing long form and having to edit everything, you can just take your phone and hold it up like this in front of a window so you get nice natural light and do a short. And you can do a 60-second video about, again, kind of like LinkedIn, you can do a 60-second video about the benefits of using a VA. And the next day, you could do a 60-second video about your favorite tools that you use to do calendar management, or your favorite tools for inbox management, or just your services, or what products you're really excited about this year, or how you're using AI. And um, you know you can be creative with it. There's a lot of different ways you can go with your content, but when you have those shorts up on YouTube, YouTube's going to be heavily promoting them. It's important that you are using hashtags too. So, your hashtags can be like virtual assistant for hire, virtual assistant services. You can even start every single short video with the same opening. Your opening could be something like, "Hi, I'm a virtual assistant and I do blah, blah, blah for clients. And here are my favorite travel tools." And then you go into your travel tool video. So you could have the same opening of, "Hi, I'm Erin. I'm a virtual assistant and I help startups. And today we're talking about the best AI tools for startups." Like, just as long as you're like communicating, I think, who it is that you're working with, then I think you're priming yourself to be in a good spot to get some of those clients to start watching you and start interacting with you and asking you questions. So here's reason number 2 or like 4,000 why I think YouTube is a great idea this year. Not only are they really pushing their shorts, which means your short videos have a greater likelihood of reaching a higher volume of people. Not only that, but if you start a YouTube channel and let's just say once a week, in addition to your shorts, one day a week, you have a longer video that's in that long form, like 16 by 9. Let's say you do a 5 to 10 minute video about something more in depth about your services or how you're helping your clients, or just something that relates to your expertise. Um, what YouTube is gonna start doing is they're gonna start linking some of those shorts, and they're going to start funneling your audience to your longer videos too. So think of it like, I'll give you an example of how I'm using this right now. I have a long form video about how to use Chat GPT for virtual assistants. So like how people like you and me can use Chat GPT to run our businesses. So it's like a 10-minute video. I also made a short that's a 60-second video of like my 5 favorite prompts of just like boom, boom, boom. Here is how to use ChatGPT. So it's short, you get something actionable and interesting. But because I already had that long form video up, what YouTube is doing is they're naturally suggesting to the viewers who are looking at my short about ChatGPT, they're saying that like literally YouTube is suggesting that the viewer's next video is my long form one. So I'm noticing that of my traffic and my flow is that when people come and watch my shorts, they're automatically going and watching my long form just because YouTube is like auto playing that for them. So not only are shorts driving my traffic just by itself, but they're also driving traffic because I'm talking about these things in so many different formats. So I was thinking about getting on TikTok myself this year. My wife is on TikTok and is doing extremely well. And part of me, she gets a lot of clients through TikTok. So part of me, I was like, maybe I should do that too. And then when I realized that YouTube is really doubling down, I decided that my best efforts were going to stay on YouTube. Which brings me back to an earlier point I made in the video of just it's so hard nowadays to pick more than like I'm not capable of being on more than like 3 social media channels because it is so time consuming. So I would suggest to you guys, um, at minimum, pick one channel that you think is gonna be great for your business. If you have the energy and the time and you're able to be consistent with your posting, then I think 2 channels is helpful. For years and years and years, I was only on LinkedIn and Twitter, and with consistent posting, like I used to just be on LinkedIn just to have a profile and I didn't do anything with it. And I didn't get any clients. It was crickets. And I kind of thought LinkedIn was pointless until I realized that I had to be an active and engaged member. So I started posting every day and I started interacting with other virtual assistants. I would meet other VAs on the platform and introduce myself, and we would just get to talking. I have given clients to other VAs I've met on LinkedIn, and I've gotten clients from other VAs on LinkedIn. So being an active, engaged, interesting member is important and it does help. But it's like that with any platform. You know, I was on Twitter for years and I wasn't using it well. It was not until I started to post regularly on Twitter. I post every day, at minimum once a day. It's usually more than that. And I started to interact with other freelancers, even like freelance writers. I think no for you on TikTok. Yeah, I like that. You know what? I appreciate your feedback. And I agree about TikTok. I just want to go and watch dogs. I just want to be entertained on TikTok too. So, um, thank you for that. Yeah, I'm not going to do it. And it's just I don't have the energy to be on more platforms. But I think for you, if I were you, I would seriously consider getting on YouTube. Something else that I want to tell you about YouTube is that YouTube pays money for passive watching, and they pay more money than TikTok and Instagram, et cetera, et cetera. So right now, YouTube actually pays its creators the most. I will tell you this about passive income. I think passive income is one of the best things that us freelancers can do because passive income, it's helpful on a rainy day. If at any time your clients, have to let you go for whatever reason, or heaven forbid there's a recession and they can't support you anymore, having some passive income is a way to kind of help float you in between clients if needed. So YouTube has just changed their requirements. I think it's something like 10,000 watch hours. So you have to have quite a bit of content up there first before you can start monetizing and making money through YouTube through advertisements. But uh, The thing about the shorts is that their shorts are so lucrative, like, they're pushing shorts so hard. I'll just look this up for you. It's something new with shorts, but basically through the use of shorts, it's possible to monetize faster on YouTube than it was when I started a few years ago. So if that's something of interest to you, I would definitely consider I would probably do daily shorts on YouTube, because you could monetize. Sorry, I'm trying to Google monetizing YouTube, and I'm not thinking about that very well. Um, yeah. So so I would definitely invest though wherever you're gonna put your efforts, into social, 2, 1 to 2 platforms, and be consistent, post every day, and interact with other people, because it's often the interaction also with other freelancers, with other virtual assistants. Um, it's often that interaction that also leads to referrals. I can tell you that my being active on Twitter, um, and I will tweet at other people. I'll see them. I'll see other freelancers, mostly freelance writers. For some reason, I'm really into this big freelance writing community on Twitter. But interacting with them, doing Twitter chats. Oh, I don't know if you guys have heard of Twitter chats before. Um, leave me a comment if you have or you've ever done one. Twitter chats are these things where different people, sometimes brands, will host a once weekly live chat, meaning they will post questions, and then people like you and me who are on Twitter at that time can reply to them. So it becomes a live chat where you're interacting with tons of different freelancers. There actually is one, if you were ever on Twitter and you type in the search bar hashtag freelance chat. That is a Thursday chat that happens every week. There are thousands of people who join the chat. So basically the host is this nice woman. She posts a question every week, and it'll be something like, how do you decide when it's time to drop a client? And then all these different freelancers from all over the world respond. So I like Twitter chats for two reasons. One, you can meet new interesting people. You can introduce yourself to thousands of people. So I go to those Thursday Twitter chats, the freelance chat, all the time. And every week the host starts it off with saying, everybody who's here introduced. Oh, spaces. Yeah. I highly recommend that you check out a Twitter chat. And I'm gonna share the freelance chat in this chat bar because I have received so many clients from this freelance chat. It's a little insane. And I think it's just because I'm active on it and I've gotten to know people. Okay, everybody, I'm dropping a link. I think if you click on that, you should be able to see. It'll pull up this woman, Michelle Garrett. She is the host of Freelance Chat. I recommend following her, and you can see her. She just tweeted something out an hour ago. So she's very active. So I've interacted with people on the Freelance Chat quite often. I've just hit the follow button. I followed them. I will give them little hearts. I'll give them little likes. I'll respond with gifs. I'll just start a conversation with them. It's all very natural, very friendly because we're all freelancers. We're all in the same boat. And people know I'm a virtual assistant. And over the years, anytime one of those people sees that somebody on Twitter is looking for a virtual assistant, they will tag me. So I get tagged constantly all the time in people online that are looking for assistance. So again, social media is a great way to find clients, but it just takes a lot of dedication and time, and it can be slow to build, but it is that consistency that makes all the difference in the world. Now that I've just talked ad nauseum about all this, do you guys have any questions about either your social media or your business or your clients? I am here for you and all of your questions, so feel free to drop me a couple questions in the chat. And if not, I can keep going about clients and how to find more clients. So, while I wait for your questions to roll in, okay, so referrals are good. Referrals in the sense that like you're talking to friends and family casually. referrals in the sense that you're on social media, you're getting to know people, you're getting to know other freelancers, you're introducing them to your virtual assistant services. Um, all of those feed your referral pipeline. And yeah, I think my biggest piece of advice, and it's something that I coach people on constantly, is that they think they're being consistent and they're disgruntled when they don't get clients on social media. So if that's happening to you, I need you to take a cold, hard look at how frequently you're actually posting. If you're not posting once a day, it's not doing what you think it's going to do. Second to that, if you're not connecting with other freelancers, I usually say connect with other virtual assistants, but it can be any freelancer. If you're not connecting with other freelancers and getting to know more about their business, telling them about your virtual assistant services, then social is not doing what you think it's going to do for you. None of social media is passive. It's very, very active, so that's a big thing to keep in mind. Another thing, I struggle with what to post. Hi, Monica. I totally hear you. I don't know. Here's the easiest thing to do. If you guys haven't heard of ChatGPT, I know I've talked about this a lot already today. Um, I'm also gonna post in the chat for you a link to ChatGPT. I don't know if anyone has used this. It is currently a free service. Um, I don't know if it's gonna stay free forever. I just posted a link there, but ChatGPT is this brilliant AI tool. It's scary, scary smart. It's basically an aggregator of the entire internet under the sun. So what I've done before, if I'm struggling with something to post, you can actually go onto ChatGPT, and the way it functions is you can talk to it like a human. So you can type into ChatGPT. Literally, you can type in, "Make me a 30-day plan for what to post on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook," whatever you're on. Just say, "Make me a 30-day plan for what to post. I'm a virtual assistant. I specialize in blah, 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 and I'm trying to work with CEOs, or I'm trying to work with startups." Basically, the more specific you are about ChatGPT, the better its answers are gonna be, but it does plan out content for you. I have used it before to plan out content for me. I have asked it before to plan out 4 weeks worth of potential posts on LinkedIn. I have asked it to plan potential blog posts. I've even asked it to plan potential YouTube videos, and it will give me titles and it will give me content. The best thing about ChatGPT is that you can plug in your and like play with it. You know what I mean? Like you can type in so many prompts, and if you're unhappy with an answer it's giving you, you can write back to it and be like, "That's not quite right. Like I don't want to reach startups. I want to reach women in tech." And like you can tell it to be specific. But the best thing about it is that it will give you in seconds a whole social media plan. And you can pick and choose what you like about it. You don't have to use the whole thing. You can pick and choose pieces that you like, or maybe what it usually does for me is I like to use it as a baseline. So I'll read, the 4-week plan. I'll read what it's giving back to me, and I'll pull out pieces that I like, or sometimes it will think of something that I haven't. So it might prompt me to think of 10 other posts that I haven't thought of, or it might prompt me to think of a niche or a specialty to talk about that I hadn't occurred to me before. So ChatGPT would be my first place to start, and I would start, I would, after this video, I'd go into ChatGPT and just be like, "Hey, I need a week's worth of content. I'm a virtual assistant and I service, I am working with these people, or I want to reach these people, or these are the services I'm offering," and see what it says. And then you can decide, what you want to post. Also, with so many of these social channels now, like even LinkedIn and Twitter, and Facebook and even YouTube, you can write out all your stuff. So let's just say ChatGPT does give you a month of content and you decide to use it all. You can schedule it. Each service, like each social media channel, has its own scheduling tool. So you don't even have to wake up every day at 7 and post. You can just schedule all of it. So that's a benefit too. And if you are going to use a scheduling tool, I'm just going to use LinkedIn as an example again. If you're scheduling content to go out on LinkedIn every morning, make sure at least one time a day you're checking in to see who's liked it. Has anyone commented? Make sure you are responding to their comments. And then just spend 5 minutes a day, if that. Like grab a cup of coffee, get on LinkedIn, and spend just 5 minutes. Go on the search bar and search for the term virtual assistant. See if anyone is looking for virtual assistants, and just talk to people. Just strike up natural conversations. But if ChatGPT is not your jam and you're not liking what it's coming up with, I recommend and Monica, I also do this. If you can at least once a week, so maybe a Monday, maybe a Friday, what I like to do is take no more than 15 minutes. So I do usually grab a cup of coffee and I'll sit at the counter with a pen and a piece of paper. I think better when I have a pen in my hand and I will just brainstorm dump some notes. It doesn't need to be pretty, it doesn't need to be correct. I can scratch things out later, but what I'll do is just simply think through the previous week. So if it's a Friday, I'll be like, all right, on Monday, did I use any new tools that I thought were cool? Or on Tuesday, did I try any new service that I thought was interesting? Or, was there a time this week that a client asked me to do something that like was totally new for me? Or was there anything surprising that happened this week? And I will use those real life inspirations and see if I can turn those into interesting posts. So if I've used any tools that I think are cool, I'll make a note to either write like a 2 sentence blurb about it and then link to the post, or maybe take a picture of the homepage and then write about why I like it or how I'm using it. So it doesn't need to be anything crazy. It doesn't need to be long form. You don't have to write an entire blog about it. It could literally be 1 to 2 sentences about some cool new thing. Like if you wanted to, you could even get on social today and talk about, you watched this live about social media and you learned one takeaway from it. Hopefully there's been one thing. But it could be as simple as that. But I think while content is important, I hate to say it, but in social media nowadays, it's almost more important to post regularly and consistently. Even if you Okay, here's something to get you started. If you go into LinkedIn or Twitter or whatever, I know I keep using that example, whatever you're on, if you find another VA who's posting interesting articles, just repost them and just have one sentence about like, you know what, this really spoke to me. Thanks so much for sharing this, and then tag that original person. So it can even be reposting. Okay, yes, that is it. Monica, I challenge you this week for the rest of, well, today's Friday. For next week, I challenge you to find other virtual assistants on whatever social platform you're on, and search for them in the search bar. If they are sharing interesting stuff, reshare it on your platform or on your profile, and then add 1 to 2 sentences either about why it's interesting, why you reshared it, um, and then tag the original creator. Because even you reposting like that is going to help you network. It's going to help you connect. Like the other VA is going to be like, oh, hello, Monica, thank you very much. And they're going to connect with you, and you guys can come up with some like natural rapport, and then you can introduce your services. And then pretty soon you'll be like, hey, I'm taking on more clients. If you have anyone, send them my way. So this whole like networking thing is a beautiful, and like reposting is easy. It's probably the lowest hanging fruit, but it still is a good way to grow your own feed, to show your own expertise, and to connect with people. So it's a win-win for sure. But just make sure you're doing that consistently, because if you do it once and then don't do it again for next month, it's not really going to help you. So just make sure you're doing it at least once a day. Ooh, that was good. All right, send me more questions. This is fun. I'm trying to think of other unexpected ways that I've found clients before. I I will tell you this. When you get your very first client, whether it's through a referral through your family or it's somebody on social media, wait, that's not what I want to talk about. This is very important. Okay, this is some serious coaching time right here. If you find somebody on social media that you're like, I want to work with this person, like let's just say you've gone through and you're looking through LinkedIn and you're like, this person looks interesting. I've looked at their profile and I want to work with them. Please, please, please don't just tweet at them or don't, let's say you found someone on LinkedIn who's posted, I need a virtual assistant. Do not comment, I'm a virtual assistant. Do not comment or tweet at them things like hire me or I am available for hire. 99.999% of freelancers will do that. They'll just respond to someone's comment. They'll be like, I'm a VA, you can hire me. Oh, that like it just hurts my feelings. One, if you do that, the person who's posting is not going to go through every single comment of somebody being like, I'm a VA, hire me. Number 2, you've just put the burden of doing work on the client's side. So, like, if a client is like, "I need a VA," and let's just say 20 people are all like, "I can do it," that client's already gonna be overwhelmed, and everybody is asking them to do more work because that client's gonna have to go through and individually click on everybody's profile and, like, read through their stuff, look through their activities, and see if they're interesting. That's a lot of work, and no client's gonna do that. So what you wanna do is, let's say on LinkedIn, somebody's like, "I'm looking for a virtual assistant. Does anyone have any referrals?" You can comment on that post and say, "Hey, I'm a virtual assistant. These are my services. I work with people in your industry. Talk about good timing." You know what I mean? Like, don't forget we're all humans behind this screen, so you can make it more personable and just be like, "Oh my god, I'm so this talk about great timing. So glad I saw this. I'm going to send you a DM." That's a direct message. So on any platform, you wanna comment so the person's profile gets that little notification that you've commented, but you want to take it a step further. 99.9% of assistants don't do this, so you're already ahead of the game if you send them a follow-up direct message that just reiterates like, "Hey, I just saw your post that you're looking for a VA. Would love to talk to you, hear about what you're working with." Make sure you're looking at their profile because you want to include something relevant. So make sure you're looking at their profile and you're like, "You know what? I see you're in the tech industry. I work with people in tech too. It's super fascinating, or would love to hear more about your company. I looked at your website and it looks amazing. You have an amazing product." Like you just want to make it more personable so that the client knows you actually took the time to try to figure out where they work or what they do. That's going to put you light years ahead of the game as well. And then you want to be like, look, here are my services, and here is the here's my secret, and I want you 3 to use this. Don't end that conversation by saying, "Here are my services. I would love to connect with you." That's not enough. The real secret to referrals is that you don't even give that client a chance to say no. I do this constantly and it works, I'm telling you. Instead of saying, "Let's connect sometimes," you're gonna send them a message and you're like, "I looked at your website. I love your stuff. I would love to talk to you. I love your industry. These are the services that I offer. Let's hop on a call next Tuesday. I'm free, anytime after 10 a.m." The thing is, you don't want to give them a chance to say no. So when you offer a time and a date, it feels aggressive, but more often than not, clients don't have time to think and they're just like reacting. And so if you're like, let's hop on a call at 10. How's Tuesday at 10 a.m. work for you? More often than not, they're gonna be like, oh, that's fine. Yeah, that works. Or they'll be like, oh, actually, Wednesday at 2 works. You don't want to you don't want to leave it open-ended. You don't want to leave it so that you're like, let's connect at some point. Some point's never going to come in the future. You have to be direct. You have to give them an exact time and a date, and you have to be persistent. So that that alone, I think, is gonna land you some people. Um, like I said, it feels uncomfortable, but just don't give them a chance to forget about you. Don't give them a chance, don't let them don't put the ball in their court. Don't let the client be the one who has to, like, pick a time. You pick the time. Um, I'm gonna give you guys actually a super, super secret. I'm about to jump light years ahead, but, this is one of my favorite tactics that for actually closing clients. So let's just say, for example, you just, like, struck up a conversation with someone on Twitter, and you see that they're hiring an assistant, so you tweet reply at them. Then you send them a direct message. In the direct message, you end with, like, "You know what? Let's hop on a call on Monday. I would love to hear just chat more about your business and see how I can help you, or, like, see if this is a good fit." So you're giving them a date and a time. Let's just say you find yourself on the call, and the call a lot of people get nervous on this call, and I think I should do another live about the call, about how it really goes. So, m in 30 seconds or less, I can tell you this: just remember that the person you're talking to is just a human being, just as you're as a human being. So bring your whole personality, bring your personable self, ask questions, ask them, where do you live? What's going? Oh, I'm here. I know, super exciting. I'm in New Orleans and I do this. And, just a couple sentences, 30 seconds of small talk. And then you're like, all right, well, I was so excited to see your tweet. Um, Tell me a little more about your business and what you're looking for. So, like, be personable and then get the conversation moving. Let's say the conversation goes well and you're like, "Yeah, like, everything you're looking for is what I offer." And, like, "Yes, like, I love doing data entry," whatever it is, and you're super enthused about it, and you're like, "I love doing calendar management." Um, the call's going well, everybody's enthused about it. What I want you to end the call with is kind of similar to how you ended your social media direct message. When you end a call, I want you to say, "I'm going to send you an email recap of our conversation." So the benefit of that is that you get their email, if you don't already have it, but you're like, "Okay, this is a great conversation. I'm going to send you a recap email, just recapping everything we talked about, the points we talked about. And then I'm going to send my contract." And trust me, I know how scary that sounds, but you don't want to give the client an opportunity to say no, and you don't want to give a client the opportunity to fall out of momentum. Um, when I started doing this, I saw a huge increase in clients because I did not give them a chance to back out, if that makes sense. So, just to give you an example, I had a client called with this guy I was super enthused to work with. I actually really liked him. It was this guy in San Francisco who had basically just retired from a tech company and was just doing his own thing. I really wanted to work with him. I sent him a follow up email. I did not include my contract. I basically just said, "Great talking to you. Here's a recap of our call. And I hope we can continue this conversation." That was the kiss of death. That was the dumbest thing I ever said, because he read the email and said, "Thanks so much." And that was it. And then I never heard from him again. So he totally ghosted me. The difference is nowadays when I do my calls, I say, I just had one with this other guy named Jordan. I said, "Jordan, thanks so much for this conversation. I'm going to send you a recap of the email and I'm going to attach my contract." And he was like, "Oh, okay." It was literally how surprised he was. He said, "Oh, okay." I sent him the email with the recap of what we talked about on the call, which included the services he was looking for, the services that I was going to provide, my rates, and then I sent a very general contract. So you can actually find it on my YouTube channel. I use a service called We Are Indie. Indie is INDY. I can actually just put that in the link here. Indie, I believe, does have free contracts. So We Are Indie. So like $7 a month or something for their full service, but you can sign up for a free profile. I think you get two contracts for free. So Indie has templates for virtual assistants, which is super cool. So it's written by a legal team on their end, so you don't need to worry about any of the legalese that none of us understand anyway. I definitely don't understand all the legalese, so I prefer to have a service where it is actually legal and I'm not making it up. So I use Indie. I plug in the client's name, my rates, and then I take from the email just like scope of work, which is just a couple of the services that we talked about on the phone, and that's it. That's all the client contract consists of. It's just a more formal recap of basically what's in your email, and um, and then you send it to them. It's just for out for each signature. So you can also attach a copy in the email. So that's what I like to do now. So everything I think from social media to emails to contracts, really at the end of the day, our verbiage as a VA is not letting the other person back out. Like you don't want to leave it open ended. You don't want to leave any of your conversations open to the point where you're like, reach out to me if you need an assistant, or you don't want to leave it like, looking forward to continuing this conversation because it will never continue. I'm here to tell you right now, it'll just go absolutely nowhere. So what you want to do is just get comfortable with using verbiage like, "Hey, I'm going to send you a DM and let's hop on a call on Monday. How's 11 o'clock for you?" And then once you get on the call, you're like, "I'm going to send you an email just with a recap of what we talked about, and I'm going to include my contract. Once you sign that, we can get started working together." Um, Again, I know how aggressive it feels, and it feels weird, and it took me a little while to get used to it as well. But sometimes, and by sometimes I mean all the time, us as business owners, as, VA business owners, we just have to keep the momentum going, and the person that's most responsible for keeping that momentum going is us. So I would say don't ever rely on a client to be the one to follow up. Like, it's usually gotta be us, and I think that's fine. There's nothing wrong with it. So if you do have the opportunity to talk to people online next week, or get on a call with a client. It's going to feel scary the first time you do it, but if there's one takeaway from this live, I hope it's that you feel just confident knowing that it's normal. Like, as a business owner, it's normal to be like, okay, I'm going to send you a contract and let's get started. Like, your takeaways, you just want to keep the momentum going. So hopefully that was helpful too. We talked about a lot of different stuff on this live. So we're winding down on an hour, and I want to leave the last couple minutes open for more questions. And by the way, I do think that this live stays up for you guys. So if you want to come back and revisit this, it's going to live on YouTube. Currently working on deciding my offers. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Oh, I like that you're using Instagram Reels. Okay, I like this. Okay, tell me a little more, if you can, 2 reoccurring options and 1 big time project. So tell me a little more. So you're saying for your pricing, you're thinking of having 3 options that a client can choose from in terms of pricing? So like a Yeah, tell me more exactly about what you're thinking, because while you're typing, here's my thought. My thought is that leaving certain pricing options open-ended usually ends up being better. The reason I say that is because a lot of people, a lot of assistants too in particular, try to have packages or plans. And I think that those are hard because sometimes clients don't even know what it is that they need. So I see a lot of VAs who are like, I have a 10-hour package, a 20-hour package, and a 30-hour package. Sometimes clients, yes, one major for a launch. Okay. Okay, I'm thinking through for you, and that does make sense because yours would be a little bit different. Okay, I think for you, the idea of a launch package could be a high. Yeah, I do agree with you actually. You could have a launch package, which is basically your project, and that could be a high price. And then, so I wouldn't do 2 offerings for reoccurring options. I would do 1. So I would do one launch price, which is like, and then you could describe it as like, this is your big launch push. And then I guess you could upsell your services and say, like, once we've done the launch, you can hire me for on a monthly reoccurring basis so I can keep your, your reels going, or your traffic going. Okay, I like that. I wouldn't do two different reoccurring. I would just have two buckets for you. One would be reoccurring for consistency, and the other would be a launch. Yeah, I like that. Are you comfortable with upselling your services and what I mean by that is like if you have a one-time project, like let's just say a client hires you for a launch, are you comfortable when you're done with that launch of upselling them and being like, "All right, now that I've launched this, like you can also hire me on a recurring basis to do XYZ." I think that makes the most sense. I was thinking an intro. Do you mean like an intro video for how you would work? You know what's cool, by the way? If it comes up, I like where your head's at. I like that thought a lot. Um, if you don't have a website, by the way, which I didn't have a website for the first like 8 years of my service, you can actually. Oh, oh, you have interesting. You have interesting ideas. Okay, I like what you're thinking. I want to talk to you more about this reels. You can, if you can, send me a note on the community tab on YouTube, and I want to dig in more to what you're thinking about the reels. Yeah, this is very cool. I want to think about it, and I want to help make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck. And Monica, awesome. Struggling to put yourself out there. I know how scary it feels for sure. It feels scary when you're first getting started. So I think homework for you, Monica, I'm giving you specific homework is spend next week choosing at least 2 social media platform. It doesn't matter what it is, but choose 2 platforms, where you think your clients are most likely to hang out or you're most likely to meet other freelancers. Typically, that's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and maybe even YouTube. But just choose 2 platforms and look for other virtual assistants like myself and retweet their content or repost their content with 1 to 2 sentences. So just get familiar and start putting content out there just for the week, but I need you to do it consistently. Um, it was part of my. Oh, cool. That sounds cool. Yeah, I mean, your packages are cool. I think for the both of you for the both of you, your homework next week is probably gonna be interacting with other freelancers and, like, introducing yourselves, introducing your services. Yeah, very cool. So, by the way, I have really enjoyed this for the day. I've already gone over an hour. I hate to say that even myself I need to run. I am actually thinking of doing more frequent lives. So I probably will end up doing another one. And I'm also going to start releasing videos just for you guys too. So if you have more questions and more specific questions, you can also leave them on the community page, on YouTube, and I can make video responses just for you guys as well. Um, yeah, so I hate to say I gotta hop off of this one, but send me more questions, leave me more comments. I want to dig into both of these things so much more. And then we can come up with another date that works for more lives. Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys for tuning in today. I'm super appreciative. This is gonna be awesome. So think of more questions, send me more things, and let's make some money. Yes, high five. All right, guys, I'm gonna hop off. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. I will look for your questions and comments in the community post, or you can always find me on LinkedIn or Twitter. I'm findable. Same name everywhere. Find me. I will be there. All right, guys. Talk to you soon. Okay.